Hello, Namaste, Sasrikal, good evening. Welcome to the S.S.Chandhok talk show. We are here once again, the very eminent guest on the different parts of the country to discuss on a very special topic, significance of language learning. The first eminent guest present here is Dr. Lakshmi Kumar. She is the director of the Orchid School, Pune. Ma'am is a well-known educationist and intercultural coach. Her expertise spans for establishing quality schools, building teams, developing educational processes, and initiating best practices for both school and higher education. She is the founder director of the Orchid School, Pune. As a founder director of Orchid School and the visionary for educational process that is meaningful and relevant, she strives to bring teaching practices, methods, curriculum in alignment with today's generation of learners. She specializes in social studies, integrated interdisciplinary curriculum, inclusive education, and life skills education for young adults, training them for media literacy, critical thinking, and decision making. She provides a range of training services and consultation in the areas of education, coaches, leaders, quality initiatives, and school improvement programs. Ma'am had looked after so many schools in her career. I mean, I think more than 3 decades of education experience she has. And personally, I know her because I have found her that she is so proactive that she's everywhere in the media. She invites people to her place, and she spreads the knowledge everywhere. She is a type of leader who is a leader maker. We welcome you, ma'am. And this is a very small introduction of yours because your introduction is
Thank
so big.
you.
And
Thank
again, ma'am is
you.
associated with so many associations on national international level, and also got awards on national international levels that 3 4 rooms are filled up with awards only. Ma'am, please, I it will be a choti muh badi baat. I'll speak about you. Please let us know about your educational journey.
uh, Thank
As a
you so
yeah,
much once again for inviting me. It's my honor and privilege, as I mentioned. And I also feel that 3 decades of work really doesn't say much in the COVID times. We all are year two in our experiences. So I think education has once again reminded us that we would be eternal learners. So I started my journey with my master's in social work from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and and then I worked with Child Guidance Clinic for a while, and I felt that if I really want to create an environment where children's mental health and safety are crucial concerns, the right place is to start in school. So 1984, I joined a school as a counselor, though they didn't have the concept of school counseling at that time. It's a well known story that I joined as a librarian. That was a job available. And I decided that all I need is to be in the presence of children to impact them. So I sat in the library and started working with children. I started working with then teachers because, earlier the idea is that you needed counselors only for children with special needs. But we don't realize that all of us have special needs in some phase of our life. So that's how my journey with education started. But I was also a firm believer that if I work as an ancillary service provider, I must know the core bread and butter. So I educated myself to teacher education through Cambridge certification, then educational leadership, and also I started teaching because if I wanted to really be an advocate of any changes in the classroom with attitude, I must be a primary practitioner before I can advise, or and I also will be more authentic, more practical, more insightful. So yeah, so 2004, I started the Orchid School on the request of a group of bureaucrats. And for me, the most important thing is to create a school climate that doesn't aggravate children's neurosis, that creates an environment which is fear-free, and that where the learning happens, in the all the pedagogic principles basis, and more importantly, the child-centric learning. So that's my journey so far.
that's great, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. And
Thank you.
You are an ocean of knowledge who have so much knowledge and you are spreading over. And we are very thankful that the same knowledge you are giving us also. You're coming on the second time to our show. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Next, we have Dr. Vandana Ghosh, ma'am. She is a director academics of Shri Ram Centennial School, Agra. Ma'am has an also experience of 30 plus years as an educationist. She has taught English and history in several ICSC schools for more than 2 decades. Then as a principal, founder principal of Shri Ram Centennial School, Agra. And after getting retired, she has become the director academics here again because the management didn't let her go. She has won accolades in drama, debating, education, etc. Was a part of the two-member winning team of the amongst the teachers of the Boruta quiz held at Bentota, Sri Lanka. She was a central head and team leader for the ICC evaluation and paper setting, as well as ma'am had been on different positions in the schools and also associated with so many associations. Ma'am, welcome, ma'am, and please let us know something about yourself, about your journey as an educationist. People will like to know.
Thank you, Mr. Chandhok, for all your very gracious words. And it's a privilege, it's a pleasure to be here amongst such luminaries. My journey began as a teacher. They say that very often, the profession of a teacher is not really chosen. It is maybe after there have been other rejections that you finally turn towards teaching. So mine too, perhaps it wasn't my first preference, but when I did take up teaching, it became a passion, it became the love of my life, and I was willing to go to any lengths to pursue education. And I think the best part of teaching is that you're constantly amidst young children, young brains, very creative children. So it's a process. I mean, I am imparting education. I'm also learning so much from them. And of course, I mean, if you're able to connect with them, bonding with children, then you feel that, a sense of fulfillment. So I began my journey as an English teacher, went to several parts of the country, taught there. Ultimately, when we came and settled in Agra, I got this opportunity to build a new school. When I joined this school in 2013, there were only 49 children. So it was a risk, it was a challenge to leave, a senior position in a very well-known convent of Jesus and Mary, and come here to the Sri Ram school. But then challenges are meant to be, picked up, to be dealt with. So we began our journey, and with God's grace, in about 8 years' time, today we've crossed the strength of 1,200 students. So it has been an amazing journey. It has been a very momentous journey for me. And now as director academics, and of course, these last 2 years of COVID have taught me so many things: to become friendlier with technology, to use it, to take Zoom meetings, and to teach my staff English. I also did that during COVID times. So anyway, looking at God's blessings, that God gave us this opportunity to diversify our talents.
Amazing, ma'am. Amazing, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
And such a wonderful thing you have done. You've taken up a challenge for the new school, which was having, so less students and bringing up to such a height that
Yes.
instead of pandemic, also it has risen to so much strength. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Welcome, ma'am. Next, we have Sangram Singh Bhadoria, sir. He is the principal of Gotham International Academy, Dhar, which is in MP. Sir is a practicing strategic leader in the field of education who has been extended his support and guidance to schools and other educational organizations in curricular areas, academic development, trainings, and resource management for the past 10 years. He is an IIM Indore alumni and holds his academic credentials for the premier organizations of the country as University of Kanpur. So you never met me in Kanpur. We'll talk about that. University of Lucknow, Devi Alya Vishwavidyalaya, and Jama Millia Islamia University. Presently, sir is also the CBSE city coordinator of Dhar MP, and we just came to know that Dhar is the biggest district in MP. And the principal of Gotham International Academy, Dhar. He's a certified accelerator for NABAT, Quality Control of Council of India. He's a master trainer and resource person for various modules of CBSE, which are so many things he's associated with. It will take a day's time to read about. And personally talking, when I just followed him, I came to know that he's a very versatile person who is found everywhere. As in YouTube channel, he is spreading up so many positive vibes. I think we all should follow his, as a subscriber, we should follow his channel where he is providing live quotes every day. He is handling his school. He is handling his 42 of 45 schools as city coordinator. He is putting up the quotes. He is going everywhere for the training. And he is also might be giving some time to his family also. As of you, sir, and please let us know your mantra that you are such a different personality when you come up to a social media. If you don't know that you are a principal, तो ऐसे लगता है जैसे आप कोई साधु हैं और पता नहीं इतनी बड़ा ज्ञान दे रहे हैं, इतना बढ़िया ज्ञान दे रहे हैं पॉजिटिव सेंस में कि मतलब वो एक लगता है कि हम किसी दूसरी दुनिया में पहुंच गए. वी फील वेरी इनलाइटेड इन अ वेरी पॉजिटिव सेंस. सर, हाउ डू यू हैव दिस मतलब दिस टाइप ऑफ personalities in you? Or what makes you do it like this? Sir, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chandok sir, for inviting me to your talk show, and I feel privileged and very much elated, honored on coming to this particular show. So you asked me a very difficult question on which I have never thought over, but what I think that this is the credit goes to my teachers, my mentors, and my parents. So when I was into Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Raebareli, so I had to do everything by my own, not like the students who are being provided and catered to every other thing in today's schools and homes. So I had to do everything by my own. And always my father told me that you have to become yourself guru. You have to become self-dependent. जो आज आत्मनिर्भर भारत की बात कहते हैं. So my father used to tell me about it, when I was really 4 or 5 years of age and 6 years of age. तो उन सारी चीजों का बड़ा impact रहा मेरे ऊपर. And personally telling everyone that I always felt that earning money is never the primary target of any human being. It should be and it must be the byproduct of our actions. That means like chemical equations, when the two chemicals are reacting with each other, so main product is something and then byproduct is the energy released from that particular reaction. In our life course also, we should not run behind money, and the students must also be taught and they must be taught regarding this. So value systems through which you have grown up, whatever you have seen in life, whatever experience you have, first-hand experience, your first-hand learnings, they mold your personality. So I owe all these things to my parents, my teachers, my friends, mentors, and people like you with whom I get chance to interact. So this is how I try to do all those things. I try to find time for everybody. And as you said that he must be finding little time for the family as well. Yes, I do get good time. I sleep at 9:30, wake up at 6 o'clock. Every day I sleep at 9:30, wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I have my exercises, my routine, my office and everything. But yes, once I am out of the office, I leave all my professional things behind into the office only. Then I am simply Sangram Singh, a friend, a person, a localite, a family member. That's it. That's it. Something
amazing,
more.
amazing, sir. You're always spreading positive vibe to the people. That is what I've thought and seen also. And welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for coming, sir.
Thank you so
Next,
much, sir.
welcome, sir. Next, we have Nidhi Gulati, ma'am. She is the principal of Alpine Public School, Khurja. Ma'am I'll give a short introduction. Let's know it from her. She is BSc Honors and MSc, and she has worked at many levels. Had been a physics PGT for many years, and now she is the principal of Alpine Public School, Khurja, since 2007. That's great, man, till date. I mean, from 2000, you don't look like that. You are a principal from since so long, and you are your age. आपकी वो that's sad ना, आपकी 50 से आपकी उम्र का पता नहीं चलता है. It's something like that only. From so long you had been a principal, and you have revealed over here. Although we don't talk about the ages of the females, that is a sin. But still, ma'am, you are telling over here since 2007 you are a principal, and you might had been quite a years you had been a teacher also. We welcome you, ma'am, and you are a pleasing personality. I had seen you in social medias also with your school also, that how wonderfully you are working up with your school. You are there with the kids everywhere in the pre-primary. Either it is us, you are cycling also along with the kids. Everything you are doing along with
You
them.
are seeing that.
See, I do a lot of research. Frankly speaking, I told I'm calling the best of the best principals over here. I do a homework for all the principals and the managements. So you are so much involved with the kids that it was my pleasure calling you up over. Ma'am, please let us know about your educational journey.
First of all, I would like to extend my heartful thankfulness to all of you, and of course, the moderator of the meeting, Mr. S.S. Chandhok ji, for giving me such an opportunity to express my views. And it's my privilege to be a part of this panel for a discussion. I have started my journey as in PGT physics. There's a common notion that most of the teachers are by choice, not by chance. They are by chance, not by their choice. But in my case, I can say that it's not like that. I am a teacher by choice. And as the time rolled on, I got many opportunities. Then I got an opportunity to serve in Alpine as a headmistress. And after 2 or 3 years, I've been shifted to the post of a principal in 2007. I've joined Alpine in 2005, and in 2007, I've been shifted to for the post of a principal. And from that time, I'm working over here as a principal. And I can say that as a teacher, I always enjoyed interaction with the students, parents, and it helps them to explore me and them a bit. But as a principal, I can say that I have got a lot of opportunities to communicate with my teachers, with my parents, with the society. And finally, I can say that I really swell in pride thinking that this is one of the noblest profession, I can say, just molding the shape of the future generation and doing our best to provide them with an education they deserve. Thank you.
That's great. That's great, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am, and thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Shivani Sahani, ma'am. She's the principal of HRM Global School, Delhi. She is a specialist learner, grown up for a marketing professional to an educationist. She has a different story. A postgraduate with 2 decades of experience, 12 plus years in education at various verticals in schools for academic implementation and school management. In furtherance, she had the experience of leading as school head 3 startup names: Dolphin POD, that is Vasant Kunj, Life Skills Development Center, GD Goenka Public School, Bahadurgarh, and HRM Global School, Pritampura, from the inception, making them the institution of excellence and academic brilliance, displaying her passion and commitment towards education. I had been knowing ma'am since long, and she's set a versatile personality. If something she's posting up in media, so many, you see, whatever comments I've not received till yet, till I had joined my Facebook, even from 2013 or whatever it is, in these 10 years, she gets that comments in one, in one posting only. I mean, she has so much fan followers. She says, I'm new to this. I had been this. I am doing this from last 12 years only. She has brought up 3 places, 3 institutions from the scratch till this position. And still she says, I've done nothing. And when you see it into the media, if she, tags up, if she shares anything, you get so much, comments from there, that then you come to know that what actually Dr. Shivani Sani is, because she talks less and does more. We welcome you, ma'am. There's so much to talk about you. You are connected with so many things that it will take a day's time to talk about you, ma'am. Dr. Shivani, welcome to you once again, and it's a privilege you have joined. Ma'am, please motivate us. How do you do this? How do you reach the people like this?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so very much, Chandok ji, for, I mean, I have no words. The way you have described about me, I mean, I'm at no place the way you have described. I'm really humbled. And I'm really elated for two reasons today to be there at this platform. One reason is that I believe that I'm the youngest in the team today, so feeling like a young baby. There to learn a lot from Lakshmi ma'am, Mandana ma'am, and even though Nidhi is looking much younger than I look, but she has been a principal for since 2007, and I was in pharmaceuticals then. So I am in education since 2008, so still a young learner. And of course, so feeling like a young baby child today is elating me. And second, that I'm going to learn a lot from each one of you, from your experiences and everything. So these are the two reasons why I'm really, really feeling blessed. Now, your question about how do I do that? So even I'm unaware of that. But yes, I truly feel that, yes, I'm a people's person. And it's all God's blessings. It's all, I always say my Mata Rani's kripa on me, and I believe in relationship building. So maybe it's because of that. Nothing more exists for me other than relationship. So whatever be it, good, bad, ugly, good times with anybody, bad times with anybody, I make sure that I stand with them. So that's probably one of the reasons, and that's what I've learned from my parents. So my parents are a big contribution in my life for this. And last but not the least, my husband, from whom I've learned the way to communicate. So the communication and the patience, that's what I've learned from him. And my kids, because they have never been too demanding from me. So that's the reason I could make myself available to everybody else. And that's the reason why probably I am loved by all of them.
That's great, ma'am. But patience has to be learned from the females only. All the males, they learn patience from the females only, especially when they get married. After after that, their patience levels increases.
Believe
For
you
sure.
me, it's the other way around for me. I had been highly impatient, very, very aggressive person,
Yeah,
really aggressive person, a Scorpio, a true Scorpio. And my mom had been very patient all the while, but all these years I could not learn the patience thing from her, which I learned from my husband. So yeah,
Man,
so for me, it's
can
the other way
understand.
around.
Ma'am, as a male, at least three of us can understand this, ma'am. Am I right, Sangram sir?
Chandok sir, I appreciate your sense of humor, and I really appreciate the way you communicate it without giving a single symptom of even just smiling as well.
I know.
Very seriously, you are, making us laugh. That is.
सर ये ऐसा दर्द है जो सबका एक जैसा होता है तो कभी कभी बाहर आ जाता है
नहीं सर, ये जोर का झटका धीरे से लगता है सर, ये जोर का झटका धीरे से लगता है।
और आदमी ही समझ सकते हैं ये दर्द।
आदमी ज्यादा समझ सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल
बिल्कुल, लेकिन वो रह भी नहीं सकते ना, मतलब जो कहते हैं ना गाड़ी के दो पहिए, यू हैव टू स्टे टुगेदर, बट स्टिल पेशेंस यू लर्न फ्रॉम योर वाइफ्स ओनली व्हेन यू गेट मैरिड। अदरवाइज तो कहते हैं ना कि आप तो शेर था, आपका क्या हुआ, कहते हैं जब माता रानी ऊपर बैठ गई तो शेर का क्या हुआ फिर। तो हम तो शेर थे, लेकिन जब माता रानी बैठ गई तो हम गए काम से। थैंक यू सो मच सर, वेलकम।
एक्चुअली एक चीज ऐड करना चाहूंगा इसमें।
जी सर, जी सर।
जो एक्सपीरियंस मुझे रहा, बिकॉज आई वाज अ हॉस्टलर फॉर लॉन्ग, तो सेल्फ डिपेंडेंट रहा इस चीज में। बट व्हाट आई केम अक्रॉस आफ्टर मैरिज, 2-4 साल तो ठीक ठाक रहा। मैं कहता था कि आई विल आयरन माई क्लोथ्स, आई विल वॉश माई क्लोथ्स, आई विल डू दिस बाय माई सेल्फ, एंड ये वो फलाना ढिमकाना सब कुछ। बट विद द कोर्स ऑफ टाइम में लगता है कि खाना कौन बनाएगा अगर वो चली गई। you become totally dependent. अभी क्या होता है कि you try to find out your clothes in the wardrobe, and if your wife is into her Maike, it becomes really difficult to select your clothing for the day. So hats off to the ladies. They make us so happy, they make us so dependent on them. So they are really great. Hats off. Being sisters.
Hats off to these ladies who are over here, those who are handling their homes also, as well as handling outside their schools also. So double the work they're doing. Even
very
we say
importantly,
that even housewives, they are doing a wonderful job. They are doing more than us, and these ladies are doing double the things, handling the homes also, as well as handling the schools also, and handle us also. That is also a very big thing, sir, to handle us also.
Right, right, sir.
I
Sangram,
think
sir,
Mr. Chandok and Mr. Singh, I think both the partners are complementing each other and are dependent on each other equally. So
yeah.
saying that men are dependent on women and saying that women are dependent on men would not be correct. Though we might not feel at a particular point in time.
This may happen.
Yes.
But that's what
So
we call relationship dependency.
actually,
Ma'am, it
The
is
two
said
sides
that,
of a coin.
yeah, two sides
absolutely.
of a coin, not sides. Sides means they do not match with each other. That's वो तो गलत हो जाएगा, आप तो लड़ाई करवाएंगी घरों में. So it is like गाड़ी के दो पहिए हैं, स्कूटर के या बाइक के दो पहिए हैं, एक भी पहिया नहीं होगा तो there is a problem. That's
तो
it.
चलेगी नहीं.
Okay, let's come back. Sir, we get so sentimental about, when you talk about, the home matters. Let's come back. And thank you so much, ma'am. Jaswinder sir, next we have Jaswinder sir. He is the ex-founder director of DesignMate, which is now Reliance Group company, MD and CEO of Wordsworth English Language System. He has a 32 years of experience in the field of education. Sir, पिछले 5 साल से 32 लिख रहे हैं आप. अब तो 35, 37 हो गया होगा.
नहीं sir, 32.
Okay, sir. Okay, I'm just joking, sir. Successfully run 2 edtech companies, has worked as a consultant to the government of Bahrain through UNESCO, advised the government on the use of ICT in education, passionate edtech leader. Wordsworth is used by over 1 million learners annually through more than 3,000 plus schools and colleges. Launched the world's first Sanskrit language lab, also developed Hindi language lab. He's based out in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Let me tell you all, we met in one of the show where he was also as a speaker. I frankly thought he's a very simple person, Masardi, and I had a word with him. And when I came to know about the wonderful work he is doing for the education fraternity, I was amazed. And the way he had been working, with whom he had worked, with so many schools, he working with the government schools, with the army, with the police, and with the countries, and with the present CM, PM, everything he has worked with. I came to know what a wonderful personality he is. That he looks so simple, but he is so versatile and he knows everyone in India, at least. We welcome you, sir. Jaswinder, sir. Before telling anything, I will say thank you to you for coming for a few sessions in our show. Please let us know about yourself, how you started this, and little about Wordsworth Lab. We'll talk about further also.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chandok sir, and so happy to be with all the panelists. I will want to make one correction here, and that too with the permission of Shivani ma'am. Now we are in 3001 because Shivani ma'am school has opted for it to get into the project. So ma'am, I just spoke to Prem sir and he said next week we'll do it. So I would just, it's just to be on the lighter side. Thank you so much for having me here. See, basically, starting with language, I'm not from the language field. I was a trainer on behalf of Microsoft. I used to train people in other countries. I was an outsourced trainer for them. Slowly, we became trainers for the government of Gujarat, and government of Gujarat, gave us work to train the entire government employees on IT skills. And while doing that, one day when the current prime minister, he was the chief minister of Gujarat, he called us and said that, kal se aapko 1 lakh bandon ko English padhani hai. And language was not what we were doing. Though we had done a lot of work, we trained 50,000 government employees on the IT skills, and they were all, we had partnered with Microsoft to do that. So that was a surprise element, the chief minister of the state calling you and saying, kal se you start working on that. We were very happy. We thought, wow, what a big project. Let's start working on language. We thought was simple, get trainers and do it. He said, I will give you the students, I'll give you the infrastructure, just get your teachers. So we started with it. But then he put a break on it. He said, there's one condition, that for every one center that you put up in urban Gujarat, you have to put up 2 centers in rural Gujarat. That means city mein ek center hai, training center, so villages mein, towns mein, there should be 2 centers. We thought, great, let's do it. But to our surprise, we were not able to find the right kind of teachers in the semi-urban or in the rural factor, especially when it comes to language. And that's where we decided, okay, let's start working on creating some support material which will help a teacher deliver better. So with that, we sailed through it, and we trained a lot of students. In fact, more than 5 lakh students were trained, and they were all certified by Cambridge University. But at that time, we realized that, training people during their graduation is not the right thing to do. You need to train them. Language skills should be acquired while being at school. So we did an experiment with the school in a semi-urban place known as Halol. If you know about General Motors near Baroda, there's a place where they had this, factory for General Motors. So it's an industrial place. So we had a school who was ready, who allowed us to do the experiment. So we started working with our content, and over 3 years, we realized that it really does wonders. And that school was a Gujarati medium, local regional medium school, and those students were competing in the QCI, Quality Council of India, where City Montessori has all those things, and they were excelling. That's where we started, and we said, let's go and work on it. So slowly over the years, it's been now more than 15 years working on the language field, and very happy to say that, we're working with a lot of schools, happy to be in this industry. And then we started working on, again, the government called us because from Gujarat, they went to the center, and 3 years back, they asked us to do something in Sanskrit. So we've now the world's first company to have a Sanskrit teaching lab, and we've already implemented this in 570 Kendriya Vidyalayas. So basically getting into the language field, how to use technology to improve language skills. That's the whole process. So that's how where we started, and today this is where we are, Sarabjit sir and the panelists.
Amazing, sir. Amazing. You are such a big personality,
Thanks,
and
sir.
it's your humbleness that you are over here with us to share your knowledge and whatever you had to do. So welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Let's come up to the next round, and I won't call it a question round. As what are your views on this? I'll come up to Lakshmi ma'am first. Ma'am, we had been talking about language learning always, and according to you, what is the significance of language learning?
I think before I start with the language learning, I just want to make an observation that in schools, unfortunately, we have reduced the language to a subject. I think that's where the perils are, that we do not view this as an opportunity to expand the ability to express, to emote, to socialize, the core life skills that we talk about. The language is a very, very powerful tool. And most importantly, since I have been working a lot with multicultural communities, language is also about a window, a peeping hole into world of other cultures, because it's a very, very powerful way to understand each other's beliefs, values, and what are our foundational basic assumptions. And all this gets articulated through the poetry and stories. So I think what we have rushed into the school system is the technicalities of teaching the language rather than enriching the expressions, enriching the thought processes. And we can see that now when we unfortunately do this in the higher education. I've been working a lot with engineering and management institutes, and the whole pumping in to develop soft skills to communicate is then suddenly you're talking about the lack of the paucity of thought processes. So I think we need to bring back the idea of language is equal to passion and not equal to a subject. And I think, we have enough examples to show how we have all learned our mother tongue. I'm going back to these very esteemed educators to, give this very, very strong milestones of learning a mother tongue. And there is a sequentiality, there is a logic, there is a science behind the way that we learned our mother tongue. But unfortunately, we ignore those curves, those milestones, while we are what we see it as a teaching the language. We rush into the alphabets and we rush into the words, which is not how I learned my mother tongue. I learned my mother tongue by intently listening, you know, intently listening to the articulations. And it was in my environment, in the most spoken form, in the most innate form of a lullaby from my mom to the, the cooing words of my mother to everyone talking to me, as if I am an engaging conversationist. I think that's something that we need to restore in the classrooms. The principles of teaching languages must be strictly looked into, or the pedagogy of teaching the language must be looked into the way how language evolves in a young child. And for another thing that I feel, that with our multicultural, multilinguistic dimension, but in a rush to focus on the medium of instruction, which is dominantly English, we also have heard of schools that say that you cannot speak in any other language other than English. And I think it's a huge disservice to our children to discourage them from thinking about it, because emotions are all about thinking. Even today, I'm in deepest pain. I The first word that I still, or the expression is "amma," or not "oh mom." So I think this whole the era of old MacDonald has to be decolonized, and we will have to bring back the way that we have actually all along learned the language. I think this is kind of a prelude that's good enough. Would you
Amazing,
say
ma'am.
that? Yeah.
Amazing, ma'am.
Can I add
Amazing.
one thing here, ma'am, Lakshmi ma'am? When you
Yes,
said
Jaswinder.
Amma, so there's one point. I suppose you're from South, from Tamil Nadu. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So I'll just tell
Yeah.
you one thing. All the vowel sounds, they have come from IO. When you get hurt, IO,
Yeah.
AEIOU, it's, when you get
Mm.
IO, that's what you do. That's how the vowel sounds have also come in. AEIOU, if you say
Yeah.
that in a
Yeah.
thing. So Amma, reminds me of that thing. AEIOU is, when you get hurt or suddenly you want to remember something, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
sorry, ma'am. Yeah.
So yeah, and I think the whole idea of teaching the language from a textbook is so counterproductive, so counterintuitive, so counterpedagogical. But yeah, for the lack of practical, or lack of any other way, we just made it so practical and so uh, yeah.
We have made it a subject instead of
Yeah, yeah,
being
it's
practical.
that's the I keep seeing that in Pune and Orchid School we have Marathi and Hindi, and of course you have very urban culture, so you have children who speak some other mother tongue, father tongue, maid tongue, neighbor tongue, and then you have a school tongue, and then in all this you have the second language and third language. So the rush to convert this into a subject is so khatam kar dalo, complete syllabus. I mean, how can you complete a syllabus in language?
Language, yes.
Absolutely right. Amazing, ma'am.
Ma'am, you
Amazing
can't
thoughts.
teach English. It has to be acquired. So how can you
Yeah,
complete teaching? You can't do
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when you have grade 10 teaching comprehension, really seriously, you can give some techniques or some insights or some pointers. But if you haven't comprehended in a young age, and if you haven't enriched your language with reading and listening, and an exposure to multiple medium of language enrichment program, including the films and the stories, and for example, we're just now doing an intercultural program between India and Sweden, as you know that I work a lot, and between grade 11 here and grade 11 there. And most powerful way is, I said, let's give a god of small things to them, and let's get Astrid Lindgren's story to us. Let our children learn, I mean, read the stories, though it's a translated version, and then you understand the ethos, the values of a Swedish culture, or the gender issues of an Indian culture. From the author's point of view, you get a bigger picture in the language. I think
Absolutely.
we lose that essence.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Absolutely right. Because when we are learning other language, we are loving that people also, the culture also. That's great. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Vandana ma'am. Vandana ma'am, will you like to add up something into this?
Thank you so much. I do agree with Mrs. Lakshmi Kumar that in schools the second language has been reduced to merely a subject. But then there are limitations. You see, it is easy to learn our mother tongue. Our parents are our first teachers, and our first vocabulary begins from home. So it is easy to associate, it is easy to learn the mother tongue. But talking about, I mean, I have taught in North India. So learning how to acquire skills in English is certainly very difficult. You need a gifted teacher for that. And I know the process is mechanical, but from the very young stage, if we can inculcate a love for reading, very
Exactly.
small books, that really helps, because English is not our mother tongue. And how do we learn it? So reading is very, very essential, I feel. And these days, of course, with the help of technology, with smart boards in every class, we start showing children small films, small clippets, so that they can listen to the right intonation, to the right pronunciation. And getting children into reading is a very difficult task. We often ask our parents to spare some time at night and 15-20 minutes, half an hour of reading alone with the child. And in that, I mean, at that stage, we have to take the help of parents also, apart from the school. So if the child really develops this habit of reading, it stays on in life forever. And wherever you are, I mean, your book is a very good companion. And this is how you pick up all the nuances, all the enrich your vocabulary, express yourself. And the significance of language, which you asked me, cannot be belittled. We are living in a world which is highly interconnected and highly interdependent. So we do have to learn language. But I have also seen that with teachers, there are some who come in and if you give them the right kind of an atmosphere and right suggestions, they also pick up very soon. So it can be acquired, but of course it needs persistence. And with labs like the Wordsworth Lab, which Mr. Jinder Singh is heading, I'm sure that helps us too. We had this in college, language labs, where we used to listen, and then that helped us so much in developing a love for the language. So it's an ongoing process, and all the components of language, whether it is listening or speaking or writing or reading, have to be pursued altogether.
Of course, ma'am. Of
But
course,
it
ma'am.
can be achieved.
So we can say that the child first listens and then he reads
No,
and then he
speaks.
can speak.
Listen, speak, read,
Speaks,
write.
writes.
Right.
So
Yes.
all the things have to be, all the four, these components have to be in a sequence. If the sequence is
Yes.
disturbed, he won't be able to understand the language. So when we talk about language, it is not basically English only. It is any language
Any
can be,
language.
and which NEP talks about also. You can teach
Ah,
in the regional language. So when it came
yes.
up, I know in the starting when it came up in that subjects have to be taught in the regional language. So everybody start clipping. So it was actually where the teachers or the sources are not available for English teaching. There you can go for the regional language. So people had a confusion in the starting, but gradually they came to know that it has to be taught in English or Hindi, whatever language you want, and where the language is not available or the regional language is available only, the teachers or the students are talking about regional language, their regional language can also be used for as a
Uh,
medium of teaching.
Chandok sir, it is a little different if I may be allowed to barge in here because I
So,
have participated a lot in the NEP thing. You see, what the NEP is saying is that your core subjects in India, core subjects means mathematics and science. If they are taught using regional language, that will do good. And it is saying that you should have regional language, the cultural language, and the foreign language all at the same time the child acquires it. You need not say that you start English at fifth standard when you're in fifth standard, or you start Hindi when you're in fifth standard. Everything can start right from the beginning. So what they're saying is let them acquire the core subjects in a language which is native to them. That's their
right,
mother tongue or local. And they can simultaneously acquire more languages
of
because a
course.
child till the age of 5 or till the age of 8 can acquire up to 5 languages. So we should not worry about how many languages. And the more language you speak, the better your brain works, the neuron structure works better. So that was the idea, sir.
So that basically says the same thing and other way I was talking about, that NEP says that education should reach everywhere, even if the sources are not there for the English teaching or whatever goes on with the cities. We're talking about the remote areas or villages where teaching is not going on because of scarcity of English teaching teachers, speaking teachers, or whatever it is. There they can go up, and gradually the things can improve. And as you said, after a certain age, a child can come into other languages also. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We'll come up to Sangram Singh, sir. Sir, we say that the significance of language learning is that people are able to communicate with each other. What do we mean when we say that people are able to communicate with each other?
All right. So, what we say that people communicate with the language, with the help of language. Actually, what happens, the expert Jaswinder Singh sir is here. He will, I think, agree to it, that whatever we think or the thoughts or the ideas which generate into our brain, or any kind of feelings which we get into our brains, they are communicated by the use of language. There it is necessary to have a tool of communication through which we can send our message to the listener or to the targeted audience. So here we need some platform, and that platform is the language, which should be common between the sender and the receiver both. Until the sender and receiver are on the same platform, the language will not be able to accomplish the assigned task. So here is the need of language. This is the significance of language, that it is very much needed, required, a must entity to communicate whatever thoughts have come into the brain, whatever things have been felt by the heart. I don't know whether heart feels or not. Basically, it pumps the blood, but people say that it feels. So whatever we feel, whatever we think, whatever are our responses, if they need to be communicated, definitely there will be a language. It may be any language between the sender and the receiver. But the significance of the language does not limit up to only communicating the ideas. The significance has a vast scenario. It's a vast area. Now, what can be done? As Jaswinder sir has already said, that there is a proper chronology. First listening, speaking, reading, then writing, and more importantly, there is a cultural language as well, which should be included. Cultural language ki bhi baat honi chahiye. Now, how this is significant beyond the levels of communication only. Now, that means how it can be used. The language can be used. Some examples. If there is some office and we can appreciate, and this appreciation can be done only through language, and that means this language can be used to enhance the performance of the workers. Or this communication, a good communication, that means use of good language, can enhance team building, can enhance team spirit. So it can be used in negotiation. If somebody wants to get some knowledge, that if that particular person is not having the knowledge of the language first, how he or she can read or write or listen? If he or she can listen, he or she cannot understand without the knowledge of the language. So if you want to learn something, language is necessary. If you want to teach something, language is necessary. If you want to appreciate, if you want to negotiate, if you want to do anything, any kind of communication, language is necessary. And if somebody is really good at language, acceptance in the society automatically increases. That means where we call people are publicly accepted, public speakers, public influencers. So this is the significance of language. And there are certain other things also which I would like to mention. If somebody is good at language, if somebody is having command over certain languages, if somebody is multilingual, so first of all, the brain works more prominently because neuromechanism is adapted in that particular way. But simultaneously, there are number of career options over there for a person who is good in languages. very, interestingly, politics is one of the very good careers. Nowadays, politics has become a kind of, not only a kind of social service, it has become a kind of profession. So people having good knowledge of language, good command at language, they can influence public and they can become good leaders, they can become good politicians. In any kind of performing arts, language plays very important role. Becoming teachers, professors, language plays very important role. Journalism is another very good, career option. So language has, vast significance, and it plays, I think, the most prominent role in the life of any person, in his or her acceptance, his public image, his social image, and everything. Nowadays, social media, it's all about the use of the language. I had read somewhere in newspaper that a lady in Maharashtra was killed because the use of the language on the status of her young daughter was not soothing to her daughter's friend's family. So this is the impact of the language. So we have to be very apt while using our words, language, whatever it is. So Chandok sir, this is from my
Yes,
side.
absolutely fine, sir. Amazing, sir. So we can say in one sentence that if you want to communicate, you should have a proper language learning. If language learning is not proper, any language it can be, you cannot communicate properly with the people.
Right.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll come up to Nidhi ma'am. Nidhi ma'am, although sir has talked about everything, we'd like to add something into it.
Yeah, sir has beautifully explained all the things. I just want to add something in a very simple words. But I think is that the language is a defining characteristic, I can say, of any human activity, or I can say with for interaction, knowledge. And though most of the human knowledge or the culture, it is stored and transmitted only through the language. Without language, as you can say, the society as we know now, it would be impossible. Language is a great tool of communication, which has made human civilization even possible. Language is something I can say that the people do in their daily life, and something they used to express, they used to create, they used to interpret meanings and to establish and maintain the social and the interpersonal relationship, we can say. The significance I can say that of the language learning is that people they are able to communicate in a simple words. We can say that the people are able to communicate with each other. Ability to speak any in any language helps to communicate it better. As all of we know that in recently in NEP also it has been said that in the primary years it should be the subject should be taught in their mother language, in their native tongue. Apart from this, I can say that our proficiencies, any language or any other languages, it's a vital skill, you can say, right? It gives us a better opportunity to engage with the word in a more immediate and a meaningful way, I can say. It gives the unique opportunity to communicate with a wider range of people. And so knowing the language of that place or that, I can say that state makes one's a local. If I stay in a Tamil Nadu and I know a Tamil beautifully, then I would be a local people over there. And where we are at, our world is open to us over
Right.
language skill. It makes a significant I can say a competitive advantage. There are among the top skills, the people who are multilingual, they are, I can say they are the top skillers. The employers who are seeking professionals who can communicate easily with a customer in a new and expanding. They are expanding in an overseas market. So the language learning is the most important characteristic of the
Amazing.
for interaction.
Absolutely, ma'am. Amazing, ma'am. Amazing. A very good answer, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Then we'll come to Dr. Shivani Sani, ma'am. Ma'am, we say, because especially from the last 2 years, we have been noticing technology plays an important role in language learning. Do you feel this is right, and how?
Yes, absolutely. I believe, and specifically when I was reading somewhere some time back, this was about a recent survey that was conducted by Azim Premji Foundation, and that reports that 92%, which is a huge percentage, I mean, stick to this percentage. 92% students have lost one language ability of the four, which we were talking about right now, LSRW, that is listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So out of these four, at least one has been lost in 92% of students. And I think technology is going to play a very vital role in this to develop this, the lost one. How we can see that is, say in a classroom setting where there are about 35 to 40 minutes period and the teacher can't listen. So let's talk about listening as one of the skills. A teacher can't listen to each and every child in a classroom of 35 to 40 minutes. So all children will not be able to give the responses in that duration. So these apps, or I mean, any of them, of course, since we have Jaswinderji here with us, Jaswinderji is going to talk at length for Wordsworth. But whatever I have in these COVID times, experience with a couple of tools like Flipgrid and other tools. So what happens is that there the children can record their responses and send to their teacher. Now this teacher has each and every response to be heard. She can hear each and every response and give her constructive feedback to the child. Not only this, but also there are apps where due to AI, there are corrective responses that are given to the children. So hence the child at that very particular time itself would get to know that, okay, where I'm making a mistake, and would get corrected, right? So this means that in spite of the fact that the teacher is not able to take care of the entire class at one side, so no child left behind policy is going to be taken care of by the technology. So that's one area that can be there. The other thing is that it gets documented. Earlier, we used to have only the written documents with us. Wherever things are in writing form, like any form, assessments, pen paper or writing skills. So only those were the evidences of learning that we could store with us. Slowly, we started storing them on our CDs when we started the ASL assessments, assessment of speaking and learning. But then again, that was speaking and learning. Again, that was quite a cumbersome kind of a thing when it was introduced during the CC. But now with these apps, that cumbersome thing has also been reduced. So a lot of headache, a lot of time, because time is the essence for anything and everything. Time is the essence. That's the key, right? So a lot of time is saved. So these speaking skills are also now stored as a documentary evidences of learning. So I think these are certain things that helps teachers as well as the students. Further, if I go, there are a lot of apps where gamification is there. So that makes the learning exciting for the children. Reinforcements in the forms of stickers, etc., is being there. So that further engages the children to move to further next levels. These are certain things that keeps the child engaged to the learning. So learning is happening much more as compared to the, in a general state, when we say only a classroom teaching. I would say the technology is not going to replace the teacher, because teacher's emotional connect has to be there with the child. When the child is doing all of these learning technologically and submitting it to the teacher's feedback also, the emotional connect of the teacher and the child is going to make the learning much better. However, technology is going to act as a tool, a tool which can enhance learning multifolds.
So, ma'am, Shivani, ma'am, whatever you are saying, I can conclude with that. I want to add up also that technology is, of course, a tool, and teacher has to remain as the prime source of teaching to the kids, because that emotional touch has to be there with the kids. When they see their teachers again, their faces, they're so happy and running and greeting and meeting them. But this, the gap which has come in these 2 years, as well as it will happen further also, this gap is being filled by this. Because as an, educationist, we see that it's a 40 students class or 35 students class. There are 2 or 3 toppers in the class. The rest are not. Every child is born up with the same mind. But because the thing is, the grasping power of the child is a little different. Maybe no,
I
no,
would like
no,
to no, 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 no,
no,
no,
no.
no.
Let
Here
me,
I
let
would
me.
like, okay,
Yeah.
you continue, then
See,
I'll say something.
what happens is sometimes it is like that सबको पूरी क्लास में समझ में आ गया, मुझे नहीं आया, या मुझे आ गया और किसी को नहीं आया. It happens sometimes, or child misses the class. These type of tools, when they are present with the students, when they go back home or they are not able to attend the class in the evening time, anytime 2 o'clock at the night, they can look that particular thing over there in the app, and they can learn it when they're coming back to the school. When they're coming back to the school, they are equal. All of the learning is equal with the students. We all educationists, we are running up that we should have a very good result, isn't that? We have pressures from the management also that we should have a very good board result. So we have to get it done from the very root. So that root can be strengthened if these type of tools are over there. The learning limitation should not be there with the kids. This is what, these tools, like sir is also having this. That is why I requested him to come tell about this. So yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can I take 15 seconds of yours?
Sure.
So yes, I partially agree with you for one thing, which you said later, the later half of it, which means that if child is absent for some reason or something. So with this technology, since all of it is stored, it is available at any point in time, like a asynchronous kind of learning can be done. So absolutely take it. But the first part where you mentioned that each child has a different grasping, I would rather say, each child doesn't have a different grasping, but a different learning style. So because of a different learning style, it varies that somebody might pick it up earlier if in case there are only 1 or 2 different kind of tools that are being used by the teacher, because there are 8 different styles of learning, right? And if the teacher is not utilizing all of that or a few of them, then in that case, quite a few of the students are going to be left behind. So
Right.
it is up to the teacher again that she has to be taking care of all of her students, understand the learning styles of the learners so that she can plan her lesson accordingly. So which technological tool is to be implemented, where other kinds of teaching learning materials are to be used, is again at the discretion of the teacher hence.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely right. Absolutely
people
right.
may correct me if I'm wrong anywhere.
No, absolutely right, ma'am. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Jaswinder sir, you have heard this, that, I mean, when we are talking about the schools, we are not talking about the schools in big cities only. We are talking about pan India. There's a learning gap. We say that the teachers themselves are not so much learned that they are not able to give proper, communication to the students also. How does your app helps to train the teachers to make them perfect, and how this perfection is given by the teachers to the students, as well as the other speakers are also saying gamifying and everything. What interest have you created in your app that the children love it and they want to use it?
Thank you. Before I get on to one point, I want to add up 2 things to one which Dr. Shivani said and one which Dr. Vandana talked about it. Dr. Shivani ma'am did talk about, there are 8 different styles of learning. Some are auditory, some are visual, some are kinesthetic. That is a very important thing, and that is the way we are. You can't train a person to become from auditory to visual or visual to auditory, right? So what technology can do is at the same time give all different kinds of learning to everybody. So if I learn from a different aspect in a different way, I can choose to do that. That is what technology can do. So what technology can do is to replicate teachers rather than replace teachers. That's one thing. The other thing is that, you see, language, especially when it comes, it is something that we do with emotions. And do not expect computers, technology to bring in emotions. So that's where the teacher element comes. So I would always say the blend is the best way of doing. Today, the pandemic taught us to go and work with the blend model, but MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, has been talking about blend since years and years. So that's exactly what happens. So technology enabled teacher uses technology to deliver what she can multifold. So that's where technology works onto that. If I go on to what Dr. Vandana talk about it. Ma'am, you did talk about reading. Reading is something which is a major challenge today. If
Right.
we, connect it with NEP 2020 talks about it, we say research-based learning. Okay,
Mm.
research, we have Google, but there too you have to go and read. So
Mm.
reading is something that we need to work on, and rightly said that parents should be the first teachers. I would all, if I were to go and meet all the young mothers who are mothers of 2 years old, I would say, place your child in your lap and read a book to yourself, right? The child will learn to read, because the best laptop is a mother's lap. If a
Absolutely.
mother gets onto that, because see, the emotional connect, and you will see, you will read only if you love it. Okay, nobody
True.
can force you to read, right? So that love part comes in when you connect with your mother, and the child, because of whatever is an umbilical cord or whatever, you get connected to your mom, the first thing. So if that is taken up, so that too, today's, I'll give you a simple thing, Sarabjit Singh, if you allow me. I'll give you my example. My daughter, when she was a kid, every day she would come and say, Papa, stories now. And very frankly, why did I come up with this project? Is because I was not good at languages. I have not read one single page in my life, because that habit was never inculcated. So what I used to do is every day I would twist the same story and tell her. And when she grew up, she said, Papa, you've cheated me all my life. You've done this. And I know there are thousands of such papas. So we are coming up with bedtime stories where it can be flipped on a book, and the parents, fathers like me, moms, the moment, daughters or kids would love to sit with their fathers because they're out working the whole day. They would want them to read out a story. So we're making those stories where they can do, and they're all bedtime stories. So there also
Absolutely.
technology is something which actually helps. So coming on to this point, Sarbrit sir, when we talked about how is the technology, so what we have done is whatever we felt that a teacher should be able to do, despite her being able to do, but in a large scale, on a large scale, to reach out to everybody, to reach out to each individual. That is what the lab does. The second thing that it does is the technology will allow a child to access language learning anytime, anywhere, on any device. I would
Right.
want to practice something at 8 p.m. or maybe 11 o'clock in the night or maybe 6 a.m. I don't expect my teacher to be there at that time. So what I do is I connect to my server and I get onto that. So a teacher will give whatever work she wants to do, and I as a child can do it at any time. So that's what it is. If I have freedom to do certain thing, I will automatically fall in love with that. Somebody did talk about falling in love with learning. We say for the love of English. If you are able to inculcate that love feeling for a child, for a particular language, you don't have to teach them. They will acquire it. So passion, love, that is what we are trying to do through technology, by not making it 100% technology. It has a teacher component, it has a human component. Second is, I think, Shivani ma'am, you did talk about gamification. Very important, because today's child is very chanchal. you know they get bored very easily, so you need to keep challenging them every moment. So what we've done is, when we started creating this, earlier there used to be products which used to have MCQs. You keep answering. Today you give a child MCQ, after 3 years say, no, I don't want to do it. So we've got 35 different styles of engaging a child. The buzzword is engaging. How do you engage a child to keep doing something which will make them master a particular thing? Because mathematics and language both have to be practiced. They can't be read, they can't be mugged. You have to keep doing it over and over again. One more thing that happens is, when you're listening to something proper, you automatically speak proper, because you imitate and you repeat, right? So imitation and repetition is the buzzword. You listen to something proper, you imitate that, and you keep imitating it multiple times so that it gets into your system. Language is through by immersion. You have to get into this way, this deep. You have to get immersed into language. So technology can be there anytime, everywhere, because we can't expect the teacher to do and be with the child every time. So what we're trying to do is, with technology, make language learning available, language acquisition available, language practice available 24/7, and that too using a simple mobile phone, right? Because understand one thing, technology is there to stay. We might as well use it to the proper way so that it is delivered and accepted. And today's learner, let's understand, They are technology residents. We are technology migrants. For us, it may be a big thing. For them, it is natural. So what we do is we try to bring it. And you said language acquisition in the natural form. I suppose Lakshmi ma'am in the beginning did talk about it, that you have to listen. It has to be contextual. I mean, language should not be acquired through grammar. आज मैं अगर हिंदी बोल रहा हूं, मेरी हिंदी में आप गलती नहीं निकाल पाओगे, लेकिन अगर आप मुझे हिंदी का व्याकरण का व पूछो, आई एम सॉरी, I don't know that. So language grammar is important, but grammar is by usage. When you speak something, if there's a spike, that means there's a grammatical mistake, because language is music. If spoken properly, it will soothe down, it will calm you down, any language. And if there's a spike in that, understand there's a grammatical mistake. That's how we need to work. Listen, and you get to know what is correct. So this technology allows them to listen to a certain thing n number of times, to repeat it n number of times, to compare it, and for your own self get to know that am I doing it in the correct way or not. So that's how we say technology can use onto that.
Amazing, sir. Amazing, sir. And sir, you have done a lot of research on this.
Yeah, we put in 50,000 man hours till date.
Because you told us that you were not of this, industry, and you came into, and you have done such a lot of research. That is why, as an expert, we have called you to please share your knowledge, because we are doing a number of things together. But the knowledge you are, giving to us about the language learning, that is very important, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll come up to the next round. Yes, ma'am. Shivani, might want to say something.
I have come across one app wherein the children have different backgrounds and filters and all. So when they're submitting their homeworks, they are also, putting in using those filters and backgrounds. So they are excited to submit that. So this is in fact increasing their homework submission rate also.
That's great.
Yeah.
We'll come
so
up.
Technology can get you to anything.
Anything. You see, you have learning has to go up. It was manually. Now it is through the machines. But that knowledge, that specific thing should reach the children in whatever they like now. They don't want to pick up the books now. In these 2 pandemic years, even my kids at home, even they do not want to pick up the books. They want to set up with a laptop or a mobile, and they can read it everything over there. They don't want to pick up them. So whatever way they want to do, but learning should happen. But gradually we have to bring them back for very sure, with the manual learning also, with the books also, with the teachers also, because teacher is the most important part. Thank you, ma'am. We'll come up to the next round, and because we're in short of time, I request a 1 minute, a precise answer from everyone. Lakshmi, ma'am.
Yeah, can I come in?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Just for, I think, when we discuss learning language, let's also look at our cultural value disposition towards language.
Right.
Whether we want to blame it on the colonized past or our own attitude to our own landscape languages, we are quite enthusiastic to learn the French and the German, or even a Swahili and a Spanish. And parents will ask that, is it really necessary to learn Marathi? Kyunki, where are we going to use it? And of course, where are we going to use the French and German too? But, it almost feels like it's some kind of upward mobility and some kind of a status to learn those languages. And that, our own language, or even a Sanskrit for that matter, has just got so lost in the entire ecosystem of rush to, learn the foreign languages. So there is something that we as schools need to do. I'm not saying promote a marketing pitch or something. I think whatever language we teach, this idea that these are not important subjects, these are not key subjects, these are all very prejudiced, messages that we give it to children. And I think our attitude then, of course, translates into behavior. I thought that's an important
right, ma'am. You are very right. But the other day we were talking about schools and schools admission. Parents are going, they are talking about the facilities what are being provided. None of the school is asking, are you going for the cultural values? Are you going to add up values to the students? Which school? We want a school which adds up cultural value or on values. Nobody's asking for this.
Yeah.
The same thing.
And I think when we use the marketing pitch to, promote other languages, over your own, everyday usage of it. And I keep telling my students that even if you become a CEO, you might have to communicate with the guy on the shop floor, or
Yes,
with a
ma'am.
local vendor and a supplier, and probably across Rajasthan, or so your chances of using these languages are much equally important or useful in a
Yes,
very,
ma'am.
very globalized world, that where there is a reversal of migration that happens. So I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
it's also about continuously pumping in this value of respect for languages.
Right, ma'am. Right.
Lakshmi
Thank you,
ma'am,
ma'am.
I'll just come into this point. You know what? I met my wife because of a language. So it goes beyond that. I'm married to a Gujarati, and only
Yeah,
because
yeah. I
I
mean,
could speak
I'm not
excellent
even
Gujarati.
entering those.
Yeah,
I'm
no, no,
not
I'm
even
telling you,
entering those.
she's a
Yeah.
Gujarati from Tamil Nadu. And because she speaks Tamil, I'm learning Tamil. And she married me because I could speak. So language, it connects you. And the local Indian languages are very, very important. Let's just be very distinct. Say, if I were to come to Tamil Nadu and speak to somebody in Tamil, he would feel connected. That's important. So yes, Indian
Absolutely.
languages are very, very important. And when we started working with Sanskrit, we realized how rich our languages are. They are more technically advanced languages also as compared to other
Yeah.
language.
Yeah. I mean, I recently was listening to a very young student's YouTube where he is going to Harvard and he's done only language through Ved Pathshala. And the guy is going to learn computational Sanskrit, you know. So
That's
we are
great.
talking about computational linguistics. So I think today in this world, you can connect subjects, but I think it's perhaps our own limitations as adults that we have not traversed those paths that we, I think, limit our students.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Sorry, maybe I digressed. And
No, it's
yeah,
okay, ma'am. Ma'am, these are the important things which had to be discussed. We'll come up to Vandana, ma'am. Vandana, ma'am, we say that different skills develop with language learning. So, only in 1 minute, what can you discuss? What type of learning students have
See,
or
that's
people have?
very true. That's very true. There are so many skills which are connected to language learning. Um, we are able to communicate better, we are able to express our feelings, then it also stimulates, our thinking process, our brain, and of course, your career these days is dependent on how well can you present yourself. Suppose you are an interview, and if you do not have communication skills, it will be very difficult to, impress the person sitting right in front of you. Then of course it deepens our connection with other cultures too. If you travel, if you go abroad, knowing a language is definitely an asset. And along with any other I feel that it is a life skill which one has to learn. It should not be reduced to the status of a subject.
So we can
Thank you.
we can sum up that language learning, there is all round development of a child or a person.
Absolutely,
Right,
absolutely.
ma'am. Right, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Lakshmi, ma'am. Okay, Lakshmi, ma'am is yeah.
no, no, I'm
Lakshmi,
here. Yeah.
yeah, ma'am. So we were talking about that different skills developed with language learning. So what do you say about
Yes.
that?
So, there is this future literacy readiness that the World Bank and the 56 Delta skills that need to be there. And what we are talking about, the skills of negotiation, arriving at consensus, skills of, convincing, the art of perusal, persuasiveness, as you would say, and, being able to disagree with some kind of elan and respect, uh, and apart from the usual presentations, communications and all that, but it's almost like if you can persuade an Icelander to buy some ice from you, kind of persuasion, which means also that you are getting an insight into the other person's arguments. You kind of preempt it even before you begin your argument. Also, the etiquettes of communication, that's an important skill, that how do you not interrupt, and how do you elaborate or disagree or give another point of view. These are all extraordinary life skills, and something that you would categorize it as part of the soft skill. And also the important skill of being able to say how that you don't know. It's a kind of a value and a articulation skill, of being able to say that, I don't know and I can look it up. The above and most important significant skill is being able to sieve through the multiple oceans of information and select the most appropriate, decoding this fake or misinformation from the correct information. And again, this is not a singular skill. It's about reading or the language, but at the same time, you're also bringing in the logical thinking, the multimedia literacy awareness, and the sense of, seeking the right one, and of course using it. So these are some of the things that I can think of which are absolutely necessary as the I'm not even calling it a future 21st century, but future readiness skill.
Amazing, ma'am. Amazing. Thank you so much, ma'am. Sangram sir, we'll come up to you now. As Shirvani ma'am was also discussing, we were discussing that students have different mindset. How do you keep in, how should we keep in our mind that equal learning happens to every child? Sir, you're on mute. Sir, you're on mute.
Mute me.
Just a minute, please. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I think I'm audible now. Yes, everybody is born with different, skill sets, different talent levels, and different mindsets. So first of all, let me have the privilege of saying that if we wish that we can make everybody equal, or we can bring everybody to same platform or same level, so that according to me is a kind of hypothetical notion. But still, there is a lot of scope of improvement in the persons required. So for languages, let us first of all understand that there are two kind of learners, or two kind of students rather, we say. Learner is a better word, that those who are with a fixed mindset and those who are with a growth mindset. Those who are with a fixed mindset, they feel that everybody is born with certain kind of skill sets, and that is fixed one, they cannot be improved upon. But the other one, the B one, those who feel that those who are having growth mindset, they feel like that whatever skill sets are within us or within anybody with the birth, they can be improved, they can be sharpened also. So if we wish to bring every child to a particular level, first of all, we have to change the A category to the B category. That means those who are having the fixed mindset, they should be brought to the level of growth mindsets. Then there are certain things that means which can be done with the students inside the class or outside the class with the learners, that using diverse teaching strategies is very important, because already we have discussed that there are learners which are dependent on different learning styles, which we call VARC learners, visual learners, auditory learners, and then there are readers, and there are kinesthetic learners. So everybody needs different kind of input for learning. So we must adapt to the needs of the learners. That means different teaching strategies, and there comes the role of technology as well. We have already discussed about gamification. So previously also we were using quizzes, crosswords, and puzzles. So now technology has come into it and made the things very easier and simpler. And also the restriction of time has been waived off. Previously, it was very compulsive that whenever the student is inside the classroom or inside the school, at that particular time, the learning will take place. Now, as sir has mentioned, Jaswinder Singh sir has mentioned, with the simple smartphone, you can learn anytime at your home, when you are in travel, or any other time. So the barriers of time has been also broken. Meanwhile, the learners must be continuously encouraged for their learning, and they must be exposed to the problems. That means experiential learning must be there. Problem-based activities may be given to them. Question answer sessions can be, held after any teaching sessions or whatever. And also, very importantly, it's a very important thing that the purpose of language learning must be taught to the learners. That is very important. You know, whenever you know about your manjil, you can fix your ways, you can ascertain your paths. So that is where a learner must be told, must be acquainted, must be informed about the objectives or the benefits or the purposes of the language learning. So Chandok sir, this is all from my side.
Amazing, sir. Amazing, sir. Amazing, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Nidhi ma'am, would you like to add something?
Yeah, sure, sir. I'm totally agree with Mr. Sangramji about the student mindset. That can be categorized into two categories. That is a fixed mindset, and the other one is a growth mindset. The fixed mindset is that the students who believe that their skills, their talents, their overall intelligence are fixed traits, and thus they may resist learning and stop trying to improve. And the second one, I can say that is a growth mindset. The students who they know they can develop their skills and talents through the different efforts and persist, as well as being receptive to the lessons and their feedback. They generally believe that they can improve through the hard work and trying the new learning methods. So that gap should be developed, a bridge should be developed with them. For the now we can follow different methods to bring a bridge between them. I would like to mention a few things that as a teacher, what we can follow is that a teacher should give a feedback that highlight the value of planning and trying different strategies. They don't worry that if they don't understand something in a one way. We should focus on our next step, either by drawing a thing, by writing them a student that how they can understand or understand a concept. Generally, when we can use different instructions also, different statics also, different principles also, in the way which the student can understand. Either it videos, or I can say the audio clips, or it's a presentation. With the different processes, students will be given a chance to work not only with the individually, but in a pair or in a peer groups also.
Amazing, ma'am.
And work with the demonstrations also. Lastly, I would like to say that we should teach the value of the challenges to them. This can help the student to develop a growth mindset while explaining the benefits of the overcoming the obstacles. Generally, when at the last, I just want to add the two lines that when people are pushed through from their comfort zone to grasp the difficult concept, the neurons in their brains, they tend to form the stronger connection, which lead to develop the intelligence over a time. Therefore, the efforts and the difficulties are the paths, not, we can say, the roadblocks to get the success. So in this way, equal language learning can happen.
Amazing, ma'am. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Dr. Shivani Sani, ma'am. Ma'am, we need a 1 minute answer only. We say that technology is a tool with the help of which teachers can become smart and thus provide smart learning. What do you mean when we say this?
As we have seen during last 2 years that technology has broken the geographical boundaries, I would say besides the breaking the geographical boundaries, there are no boundaries at all now, because there are virtual universities that have come up. Universities like, I mean, they don't have offices, but they are virtual in nature, and still students are learning. So the teachers are also learning. Earlier, we used to have a few open as an asynchronous modes of learning, like, but now there are multiple MOOCs, like the massive open online courses that have come up. Teachers are now Google certified, Microsoft certified. So we've seen. So I believe that the way forward is from progressive schools to smart progressive schools. So from progressive, as here my two panelists have spoken about progressive mindset. So I would say from progressive mindset teachers to smart progressive mindset teachers, which will help them, using the technology, integrate a lot of higher order thinking skills into the system. And I would just give one example. We very recently had all the leaders, the school principals had 5 days CBSE workshop on APP, that was annual progression plan. So this was conducted online. So all across we were attending that, and there was such a beautiful interaction that we had learned from each other. So this is now going to permeate from the leaders to the teachers and followed to the students. So that's the kind of, I would say, the
Learning.
no, the power of technology that we have. And as Vandana ma'am also was mentioning about the correct pronunciation and enunciation,
Ma'am, you're on mute.
yeah. So as Vandana ma'am was earlier mentioning about correct pronunciation and all, there are times when my daughter also corrects me on my pronunciation, because I haven't learned listening this language. Now with the Wordsworth like things, our students are going to be learning the language by listening more of it. So I'm sure that is definitely going to make a difference to teachers as well.
Correct
Because
articulation, ma'am. Yes.
yes, because when teachers are teaching the children, they are also learning in the process.
Of course,
True.
of course.
Yes.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Jaswinder sir, coming up to you. Sir, tell us about the Sanskrit language lab as well as the other languages you're working with, sir, and their importance.
Yeah. So we like I said, we started with English as a language, and during the journey, it's been almost 15 years that we were doing. But around 3 years back, when the government was planning to roll out the NEP 2020 properly, we had instructions that we need to work on Sanskrit. So very frankly, I was very bad at Sanskrit. I don't know how many times I've been punished for not being able to do well in Sanskrit in my school. And then because it was a mandate, we started working on it. And while working, we realized that this is one of the most enchanting languages in the world. No doubt it is the mother of a lot of languages. No doubt we are talking about computational language. I think Lakshmi ma'am talked about it. So when we talk about computational language, what is that? It's a language which is logical, because what is computing is thinking in a logical way and making the machines work in a logical way. So Sanskrit as a language is one of the most logical languages. I'll give you a simple thing. If you have a word which has got letter spellings, there is a reason and there's a logic why one word letter is after the other letter in each and every word of Sanskrit. So the way it has been written, planned, designed, developed is awesome. I don't know how they could think of such a strong thing so many years back. So that's one thing. The other thing is we've realized that, Sanskrit, you need not worry about your sentence construction. Okay, I'll give you an example. If Lakshmi ma'am is there, ma'am, if I have to say that my name is Jaswinder, how do we say that? I would say Mama Nama Jaswindaraha.
I'm here. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. Because, ma'am, because Tamil is the oldest language in the world, right? It is even before Sanskrit. So I thought, I wanted to grab your attention there. So when I have to say my name is Jaswinder, it's Mama Nama Jaswindaraha. But if I say Jaswinder Mama Nama, that's correct. Mama Jaswinder Nama, that's correct. Nama Jaswinder Mama is also correct. So imagine a language which allows all this, and that allows you to think proper. So that is why we started working on Sanskrit, because Sanskrit is very important. If the Germans have understood the importance, we in our country need to understand. It is not about who owns this language. It's about this is a language which has got such a lot of scriptures and there's such a lot of information, knowledge. We need to decode it. We need our students to understand, to read, to comprehend Sanskrit, because you see, everything that we are developing now was developed long
Yeah.
back. We have Udan
Just
Khatola.
Jaswinder,
Yes, ma'am.
Just to add to that dimension, that we need to also make sure that we don't politicize the language, because we are robbing the next generation of an entire
Exactly,
knowledge
exactly.
system.
So
It's
I am
so, yeah.
true, true, true. So I'm talking from a language perspective. Language, see, when we say acquire languages, you acquire a lot of local knowledge, because cities were not formed in a day. It from years, hundreds of years of city. Say, let's take up the city of Banaras, or let's take up the city of Cochin, right? They were not formed today. So Banaras has got such, it is the oldest city in the world. The heritage, somebody needs to go and read it, because you pass on learning earlier using scripts. So unless we are able to read the scripts, so that's how we started working on English, Sanskrit. We've already worked on Hindi. We are working on other languages. Ma'am, Tamil is one, Bengali is the other one, right? Urdu is one, and we're looking at Telugu, and there's one more language, yeah, Kannada, right? So all, because you see, in the north, north, half of India speaks Hindi, but in the south we've got so many languages. So as a part of being able to support the NEP 2020 mandate, so that is happening, because people are going to travel from X place to Y place. So language is going to be important. So Chandokji, what as a company, since we put a lot of efforts in language, English as a language, now we're using that experience in developing other languages. And yes, we cannot look at monetary in the Indian languages, but it gives a company a lot of pride to be able to work with this thing. So when we were told that we are the first proper language lab for Sanskrit, it actually made us feel very, very proud about what is happening. So that's what we're doing, getting onto that. Making languages interesting is the only purpose, not that it gets any language. If you make it interesting, learnable, teachable, that's what we need to do. Rest the teachers and the students can work on it.
Yes. So you are working with the English also, Hindi also, Sanskrit also, and French also.
Yeah, French. So French is almost through. So we're getting French also, because see, what is happening is there's a part of the world which speaks only French, and there's a part of work which speaks English. So we need to get into that and work on that, because a lot of schools,
and you also told me gradually you'll be moving up to different regional languages also.
All regional languages. That is what the plan is. Yeah.
That's great, sir. Wonderful work you are doing for the education fraternity. I mean, the children will be getting this education from the very basic. This help will be getting, because we know very well we'll be going hybrid now. As of every school will be of every level will be going hybrid, and this will be a very helpful tool. Thank you so much, Jaswinder sir, and wish you all the best that you reach pan India. Now you are moving
I need the blessings of everybody. Thank you, sir.
Sir, you are doing wonderful for the education fraternity. Everybody will be cooperating and dealing up with you. Thank you so much. We'll come up to the very last and surprising round. That's a 5-10 minutes round only. That every member who has to come here now has to sing 2 lines in any language, original language, Hindi, English, any language, 2 lines, original. It may be patriotic or it may be film, anything.
This is a surprise test.
And who is the senior one? Who's the seniorest one? I can find out. Lakshmi ma'am is the senior one. And if any original thing you sing for us, ma'am, we'll be very happy.
Chinna chinna aasai.
Ah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Ma'am, 2 lines, ma'am.
Please
go ahead. 2 lines.
A little more, ma'am. Please, please.
Oh my God. Oh my
so beautiful
God.
You were singing. We want to hear 2 lines at least.
Oh my God. No, I'm not a great singer, Saraprit. And you're the only one who would say that.
Yeah. Ma'am, everybody will say right now when you will sing.
It was really going too well.
Chinna aasai, Situ vita aasai. I don't know the full lyrics. See, that's the loss that I have having migrated.
You can open your Google. Everything is there on this.
I know. Yeah.
Any 2 lines, ma'am? Any other song?
Give me 2 more minutes. Let me think.
I'm giving you 2 minutes. By the time we'll come up to males first.
Whoever is ready. Whoever is ready, okay. Can just start singing.
Okay.
I am a really, really too bad singer. भाग जाते हैं मैं जैसे कोई गाना शुरू करता हूं।
सर यहाँ पे जब लोग गाते हैं तो इतने बढ़िया सिंगर निकल आते हैं कि इंडियन आइडल से बोलना पड़ेगा कि ये एजुकेशनिस्ट के लिए एक सेपरेट इंडियन आइडल का सीरीज होना चाहिए। We should have. By the time ma'am is getting ready, sir, Sangram sir, You are an inspiration for us, sir.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
let me just finish. Done with it. Okay, now I
Okay,
have
okay,
Ma'am
ma'am.
is done
Yeah.
with this.
two
Okay, ladies.
sentences that are
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful.
sure, sure,
Okay,
sure.
yeah, yeah. சின்ன சின்ன ஆசை சிறகடிக்கும் ஆசை முத்து முத்து ஆசை முடிந்து வைத்த ஆசை வெண்ணிலவு தொட்டு முத்தமிட ஆசை என்னை இந்த பூமி சுற்றி வர ஆசை. These are the loftiest goals that one can think of. Yeah.
You sung, ma'am, Dil Hai Chota Hai Choti Si
Rumba,
Aasha.
rumba. What is that, ma'am? Rumba.
That-
Great.
Thank you.
Shivani ma'am, don't worry, ma'am. We'll come up to Sangram sir. Sangram sir has to sing.
संग्राम कोई कविता सुना देता हूँ सर मैं।
सर गाना सुनाना है सर, कविता नहीं सुनानी, वो तो आप सुनाते रहते हैं सर।
अच्छा,
वो तो हम
ये
रोज सुनते हैं।
रिकॉर्डिंग पब्लिक नहीं जाएगा ना, ये जो
बिल्कुल जाएगा
गाना
मैम।
वाला?
पब्लिक जाएगा।
मैम बहुत
जाएगा, मैम।
बढ़िया गाया आपने।
मैम सो
My
ब्यूटीफुली
God.
sang, वो हमें हिंदी वर्जन याद आ गया उसका मैम। सो
हाँ।
ब्यूटीफुल यू sang मैम।
इसका तमिल वर्जन जो है वो ज्यादा अच्छा है सर हिंदी वर्जन से।
यस सर, यस सर, यस
सर,
सर।
And I was
originality में तो
remembering that
अच्छा
there
होता
is
ही है।
सिरुगड़ी का माशे, लेकिन मैं डर डर के बोल नहीं रहा था कि गलत नहीं हो
Ah,
जाए।
you should have helped me, Sangram sir.
Actually, I learned Malayalam for 2 years, and I was, I was awarded the certificate of merit in Malayalam.
Oh,
great.
okay.
थोड़ा थोड़ा जो है समझ में आ जाता है अभी।
नहीं
तो
अरे
सर कोशिश कर देता हूँ सर, गड़बड़ हो जाएगा तो मैं नहीं जानता, है ना। सो दैट इज वो कश्ती वाला क्या गा रहा है, कोई उसे भी याद आ रहा है। 2 लाइन होगी सर।
ठीक है सर, ठीक है, मान लेते, 2 लाइन मान लेते सर। शिवानी मैम।
ओके, तो आज शिवरात्रि है तो कुछ शिवरात्रि पे गाते हैं। दिस इज
Very good.
वन ऑफ माय फेवरेट सॉन्ग, सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम का।
वाह।
आई डोंट नो हाउ इट वुड कम आउट टू बी। बेकार आए तो प्लीज कट कर दीजिएगा। ईश्वर सत्य है, सत्य ही शिव है, शिव ही सुंदर है। सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम, सत्यम।
मैम आप म्यूट पे आ गए।
सुंदरम, जागो उठ कर देखो, जीवन जो
मैम आपकी आवाज धीरे होते होते गायब हो गई है मैम।
मैम we can't hear you. She's got a very sweet voice.
Yeah, very sweet voice.
Set up professional audio in audio settings. What is this?
अभी आवाज आ रही है आपकी?
Okay.
हाँ,
I don't
अभी ठीक आ रही मैम।
हाँ बराबर है।
don't know why this thing happened. Okay. ईश्वर सत्य है, सत्य ही शिव है, शिव ही सुंदर है। सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम, सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम। राम अवध में, काशी में शिव, कान्हा वृंदावन में। दया करो प्रभु देखो इनको, दया करो प्रभु देखो इनको, हर घर के आंगन में राधा मोहन शरणम,
Very sweet.
सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम, सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम। थैंक यू।
ग्रेट
अति
ग्रेट
सुंदर,
ग्रेट,
अति सुंदर,
अमेजिंग।
अति सुंदर, मधुर।
निधि मैम, अरे मैम यू आर
Much
सच अ गुड
belong.
सिंगर। निधि मैम प्लीज
सर मुझे तो बिल्कुल नहीं आता, 2 लाइन्स ओनली।
प्लीज प्लीज स्टार्ट मैम प्लीज।
हम होंगे कामयाब, हम होंगे कामयाब, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन। हो मन में है विश्वास, पूरा है विश्वास, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन। हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन।
स्कूल याद आ गया मैम, स्कूल याद आ गया। बहुत गाया स्कूलों में।
जसविंदर सर, आपको 2 लाइनें गुजराती में गानी पड़ेगी सर। योर मैरिड टू अ गुजराती, योर वाइफ इज गुजराती
सर
मैम।
घर में भी गुजराती, यहाँ भी गुजराती गवाओगे सर।
सर बिल्कुल सर।
I can read out, but not sing out. So let me try something. Um, I would want to sound young, so I'll talk about something on that side. एक प्रेमी अपनी वन साइडेड लव जो है उसके बारे में बात करता है, तो गुजराती में वो क्या कहता है? वो कहता है, હું क्या कहूँ छू आपनी હા હોવી જોઈએ, હું क्या कहूँ छू आपनी હા હોવી જોઈએ, पर ना कहो छो एमा भी व्यथा होवी જોઈએ। इसका ये मतलब है कि मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ आप हाँ कह दीजिए, जब आप ना भी कह रहे हैं उसमें तो थोड़ा अपने भाव भर के बोलिए, एक प्यार से ना कह दिए उससे तो मैं जी जाऊंगा। सो दैट्स अ वे ऑफ थिंग। ये
Wow,
सर पंकज
beautiful.
उदास का ब्रदर है, मनहर उदास, उसकी गाई हुई है। सो दैट्स
ग्रेट
द
सर,
थिंग।
ग्रेट
सो आई लाइक
ग्रेट
टू लिसन टू गुजरातीज एंड ऑल दैट। सो लव
ग्रेट।
फ्रॉम लैंग्वेज हैज कम फ्रॉम दिस होल थिंग, listening
That's
to।
great, sir. That's great. That's great, sir. Wonderful evening we had today. Thank you, Nidhi ma'am. Thank you, Sangram sir. Thank you, Shivani ma'am. Thank you, Jaswinta sir. Thank you, Lakshmi ma'am. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time and coming to us and spreading your knowledge. And I hope you all enjoyed and hope to see you in another session again very soon. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank
Thank you
Thank
so
you
you.
much.
everybody.
Thank you
Thank
so
Thank
you.
you
much,
so much,
Thank you.
Chandok sir. Thank you so
for
much.
having
My
us
pleasure,
here.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Anna.
much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye,
Lovely
Thank you
evening.
everyone.
so much.
Stay happy, stay safe. Happy Mahashivratri to everyone.
Same to you, ma'am. Same to
Thank
all of you.
you. Thank you, ma'am.
Same
Thank
to
you.
you.
चलिए।